Oh, hello. Welcome to today's Decay. We are celebrating births and beginnings of everything important since the dawn of time. Not only is it a good one, but it's one that I missed last year. So I'm slowly ticking away at getting every single day of the year. So maybe one day I never have to do this again and I can just keep resharing the ones from previous years. Or not. Anyway, 1914. Today, Carol Borland was born. Trying to find a good picture for you here. And it's not jumping out at me. Here we go. Who is Carol Borland, you ask? None other than Luna from Todd Browning's follow-up, unofficially, to Dracula, where she starred opposite Bela Lugosi. Yeah. She is super cool. While most of the women in classic horror movies maybe are in a film or two, Helen Chandler, for instance, Edie Johann, Francis Drake. There's a lot of really great women involved in the classic 1930s horror cycle. Were any of them actually fans of the newly created genre? Carol Borland, #1 fan, #1 Bela Lugosi fan. She saw Dracula on Broadway in like 1926 or 7, something like that, with Bela Lugosi in it. She would have been in high school at the time, and was so enamored with him that she went home and wrote a piece of fan fiction as like a sequel to the stage play Dracula, and then started up writing him, and they became pen pals, and he got her into acting and convinced the studio or whatever, MGM, to cast her opposite him in Mark of the Vampire. Yeah, so not just another pretty face. No, Carol Borland is truly somebody. Same picture, isn't it? But still iconic. Somebody who was a kindred spirit, to be sure, and apparently thought she had communed with his ghost at some point as well. Yeah, this book, if you can get it, is excellent. It's her biography, and then the second half is Countess Dracula, which is the fan fiction she wrote as a teenager, and it's really good. And we did a The Loves of Dracula stage play for Fan Creep Theater at Coney Island 2.5 years ago, I think. I forget. Time flies. Certainly pre-COVID. Was it 2.5, 3.5? Before. In the before times. Where it was a like vampire dating game with like a screen up, and Carol Borland had to ask a series of suitors various questions to decide like which one had her heart, which were the historic Vlad Tepes, F.W. Murnau's Nosferatu, Count Orlok, and Bela Lugosi's Dracula. Yeah, and then we did a live stage play adaptation of her high school Dracula fan fiction from the late 20s. Just showing off a little. Yeah, what else? Leetta Harvey, born today, 1941. She's super cool. That would be, she was a horror host named Ghoulita, who followed in the footsteps of Jeepers. And while there's some promotional stills of her as her character, the only thing that exists otherwise, actually video footage of her show, because she would have been broadcast in the Los Angeles area about 10 years after Vampiro went off the air. The only footage that exists is actually her screen test, which is super cool to take a look at, especially if you take a look at her hands. She's got great hands. But her screen test character of Ghoulita is not what the character evolved into that people at the time would have seen. And all of this and more can be found here in Jim Fetter's Creatures of the Night that we loved so well. Expanded edition. Even more. Even more. Let me see if I can find some images of her quickly. So yeah, and part of this book talks about the rotating cast of characters that Los Angeles or the greater Southern California area experienced, starting with and followed by Vampira. Here we go. So, right, her actual. Here we go. Ghoulita. This has shooting scripts in it. The only way to experience it. That's her character as was actually shown. Here's her out of character, just doing her thing. Yeah, here's some promo material for her. On Jeepers Creepers Theater, Jeepers was very popular, and a series of people took over the same show after he left. Here's her meeting some adoring fans. I love this work he did here. Ghoulita fan club card. And then you've got shooting script stuff. Awesome, right? So yeah, on the here's her with Bob Burns, the Mad Mummy. Not fully in makeup there, it looks like. Yeah, totally dig it. So, you know, how interesting that like this stuff lived and breathed and is then lost to time because it was on formats that people were either recycling, throwing out, didn't think were worth it. Yeah. There you go. Two titans of horror born today. Carol Borland and Leetta Harvey. It's a good day to watch Mark of the Vampire. It's a good day to pick up this book and read through all the things that have existed and then were lost. And lose yourself in it too. There you go. The whole day. From me to you. Till tomorrow. Goodbye.